Clara lived in a small seaside town where cobblestone streets led straight to golden sands, and the salty scent of the ocean lingered in the air. Her house stood at the very end of the street, right on the edge of the shore. From her window, she could see white-crested waves crashing against the beach and hear the wind whispering through tall coconut palms. Clara was a potter. Every day, she sat at her wheel, patiently shaping vases, teacups, and small decorative pieces for visitors to take home as souvenirs. Her life seemed peaceful and complete. Yet deep inside was a hollow space she could never fill. Years earlier, her beloved husband had died in a fishing accident, leaving her alone with long, silent nights and no one to talk to. When sunset painted the town in golden light, families would gather, their laughter echoing down the narrow lanes. In the little house at the end of the street, only Clara sat quietly by her desk lamp, the sound of waves her only companion. She had grown used to living alone, but the solitude still found its way into every dawn and every nightfall. To Clara, the sea was both a loyal friend and a mirror reflecting her loneliness. One mild autumn afternoon, with the sky brushed in pale gray and a cool, briny breeze in the air, Clara was arranging freshly made pottery in her yard to dry. As she bent down to pick up a fallen towel, she heard a faint, fragile sound, like the mew of a kitten. Curious, she stepped toward the palm tree near her gate, its fronds swaying in the wind, and saw a small, bedraggled creature curled in the sand. It was a kitten, its snow-white fur matted with sea salt and dry leaves, its wide eyes filled with both wariness and fear. Clara knelt and slowly extended her hand. The kitten flinched at first, but when she spoke softly, its tense body eased. Moments later, Clara gently scooped it up, feeling its tiny frame tremble in her palms. The mix of salty sea air and damp earth clinging to its fur made her heart ache. She brought the kitten inside, wrapped it in a soft towel, and warmed some milk. As the little thing lapped at its drink, Clara gently smoothed its fur, entangling knots and brushing away the sand. For the first time in years, the house didn't feel quite so silent. When the kitten was clean and warm, its eyes no longer held fear, only trust. Clara smiled and whispered, "From now on, I'll call you Snowy." The name came to her naturally, as if she'd known it all along. Snowy let out a soft meow, curled up in her hands, and drifted into sleep, leaving the wind and waves outside. From that day on, the little house by the sea bloomed with new life. Each morning, as the first sunlight streamed through the window, Snowy would leap onto Clara's bed and nuzzle her hand to wake her. Their breakfast was simple: a cup of hot tea for Clara and a small bowl of milk for Snowy. They would then head out to the back garden, where potted flowers and racks of pottery basked in the sun. Snowy often prowled around the wheel, occasionally swishing its tail into the soft clay, leaving tiny marks that made Clara laugh. In the afternoons, they strolled along the shoreline. Clara walked slowly on the sand, letting the waves lap at her feet, while Snowy darted after small crabs or pounced at shadows of seabirds overhead. When tired, it would return to sit by her feet, gazing with her at the endless horizon. Clara began telling Snowy stories about her childhood, about the happy days with her husband, and about the dreams she had never fulfilled. Snowy never spoke, but the way it looked at her and the soft meow it gave made her feel truly heard. At night, after finishing her pottery orders, Clara would sit by the fireplace with Snowy curled in her lap. The firelight flickered over neatly arranged shelves of ceramics, while outside, the sound of waves blended with the whisper of the wind into a gentle lullaby. The loneliness that had once clung to Clara quietly slipped away, replaced by a warmth she hadn't known in years. Snowy, this little soul who had wandered unexpectedly into her life, had filled a void she thought nothing could ever mend. That winter, fierce winds swept through the coastal town. The forecast warned of a great storm approaching, but Clara remained calm. She knew how to secure her windows, put away the pottery, and prepare enough food. Yet, on the afternoon before the storm struck, something unexpected happened. While Clara was fastening the wooden shutters on her porch, Snowy, ever curious, had climbed onto the roof, likely chasing a seabird. A thunderclap rolled overhead, and a powerful gust shook the tiles. Clara turned and froze. Snowy was teetering on the edge, eyes wide with fear. Without a second thought, she climbed the wooden ladder, rain and wind stinging her face. The roof was slick beneath her feet. But she pressed on. When she finally reached Snowy, she scooped it into her arms. The cat was trembling, burying its head against her neck in search of safety. Wind roared around them, but all Clara felt was the fragile warmth pressed against her chest. She carried Snowy down, shut the door tight, and wrapped it in a soft blanket. That night, the storm howled outside, waves crashing violently against the shore. Inside, Clara and Snowy curled together under the glow of the lamp. She stroked its back and whispered, "You're my family now, Snowy." Its gaze met hers, shining as if it understood every word. From that moment, she knew their bond was no longer just companionship, it was something she could never live without. Years passed after that stormy night. The seaside town changed with the seasons, golden and bright in summer, misty and gray in winter, but one thing remained: each evening, the lamp in Clara's window still glowed. People in town would say that if you walked to the end of the street, you could see the silhouette of a woman and a white furred cat on the windowsill, both gazing out toward the sea. Snowy had grown old, no longer as spry as before, but its eyes still held the same gentle devotion. Clara, too, had aged, her hair silver, her hands trembling slightly at the wheel. Yet in the way they looked at each other, the warmth of their first meeting remained. When the sun dipped low, Clara would sip her tea and murmur, "Thank you for being with me, Snowy." The cat would simply reply with a quiet meow, and to Clara, it was the sweetest answer she could ever hear. Happiness, she had learned, wasn't found in grand things, but in the peace of having a soul to share it with. And there, at the very end of the street, with the sound of waves and the glow of the lamp, the story of Clara and Snowy continued, quiet, steadfast, and forever.